Myra's got a baby now. Dream on, girl, Myra.
I'm Nanette Schorr. I live in New York City, and I'm an attorney working for social justice and for individual human rights at an organization located in the Bronx section of New York City, the Bronx borough, called Legal Services for New York City's Bronx office. Outside of my workplace, I'm also deeply involved in a project called the Project for Integrating Spirituality, Law, and Politics. So I like to think of myself as a social justice activist.
Myra, a mother's precious dream she has. Oh, Lord, make them come true, please. Dream on, Myra, have your way.
So I'd like to say a little bit about what LSNY is. So the Legal Services Corporation, which provides our federal funding, it's about half of our funding, was created in the 1960s as part of the war on poverty. It was created by Congress. It's funded by Congress each year. And we have sister organizations all over the country in urban areas and rural areas, all serving very low-income people and providing them with free civil legal services. So we don't do criminal work. Our work is civil. We defend people against foreclosure on their homes. We represent them in proceedings with their landlords related to rental payments, their tenancy, repairs on their apartments. We represent them in seeking public benefits that will help support them. So we advocate for them. We try to challenge sanctions that might have been improperly imposed on them. And in general, we try to improve their economic quality of life and well-being. We also practice in the area of family law, where we represent victims of domestic violence, or sometimes called survivors of domestic violence, who we try to help seek self-sufficiency, independence, protection, and safety for both themselves and their children. We also assist and represent parents who are involved in the child welfare system, whose children have been removed from their care and placed in foster homes. And we seek to support the parents and to help them through legal advocacy to reunite with their families. Our practice is focused on serving vulnerable people.
14-year-old baby got a baby, got a baby. Dream on, girl. Myra, have your way, dream on.
Really grows out of commitments that have been with me since earliest childhood. I've always been someone who has really thought a lot about justice and equality, and also empathy and compassion and even love for the other. And in some measure, it comes out of my Jewish traditional background, which embodies principles such as justice, justice shall you pursue, love your neighbor as yourself, trying to live and embody those principles. And so as a child, I was always an activist. I was always involved in something related to care for the other. In college, I also continued that strand of interest. I took a course in modern political movements and studied Gandhi, and that was very influential with me. And did work after I graduated college as a community organizer, doing door-to-door work and trying to bring people together and nurture people's leadership and independence and self-empowerment. And it was those principles that made me feel that becoming an attorney was really the next way to carry, the next step in carrying forward those principles, because I felt that I could have a deeper impact on people as an attorney. I could use the courts to help people express these points that were so important about safeguarding their dignity and their basic human rights for shelter, for food, for a sense of well-being and connection to to their society. So that's really the why of why I've been doing this work for many years. It's sort of a life's work, if you will.
Billion-dollar question, why do we see this disparity? It really is poverty. And poverty. I think if you look at the data, you look at the percentage of students who are being suspended and where the schools that they're coming from, it is the low-income communities. And there is growing research that is talking about the significant physiological, psychological effects of poverty, which is exposure to income insecurity, exposure to housing insecurity, exposure to food scarcity, and not to mention violence in the community.
One of the areas I'm most deeply involved in is education law, which is an area I supervise. And in that regard, we represent young people who have disabilities. We try to help them get more support services that will assist them in improving their educational opportunities and their performance in school and give them a chance at a fuller life. We also represent students who have been suspended and who are being put through the school discipline system. Our office's approach is what we call holistic. We try to look at the whole person. We not only address the issue that the client came in with, but we seek to identify what all the interrelated issues are that are affecting that person's life situation. We might set them up with social work support, counseling, and other kinds of assistance. Another important component is our focus on having a broader impact, because people's life situations often stem from systemic problems, not just issues that are individual to them. And so in that regard, we endeavor to impact the systems that are affecting people's lives.
Nanette Schorr and Peter Gable are the mother and father of Pie Slap. I met both of them at the same time about 20 years ago at a Michael Lerner conference in Washington, D.C. At that conference, they rounded up lawyers that formed the initial Pie Slap group, and I was drawn to their vision. Over the years, they have been the heart and soul of Pie Slap. They continue to inspire me, as I'm sure they will inspire you. Nanette has been the keeper of the flame.
The project for integrating spirituality, law, and politics, or Pie Slap as we call it affectionately, was created in 1996, and I was one of the founders of this organization, or this movement really, I would like to call it. And it's a movement to bring more healing into the legal culture, to recognize our interconnectedness as human beings, our interdependence, and our shared aspiration to co-create a more loving and caring society that both safeguards social justice and people's core needs, and yet also delivers a measure of community and a recognition of our connection to each other. So within that frame of reference, the Pie Slap organization fosters processes like restorative justice to heal social disputes, mediation, change the quality of legal education to make it more humane, and also make reforms in the practice of law on a day-to-day basis. And this project is very, very important to me over the years. It's given me hope, it's given me heart, it's given me a sense of balance when I'm really struggling with the difficult work I do in legal services, to feel that there's a big picture that I'm working for. I've met many wonderful colleagues through this work, and we are a worldwide movement, although we're mostly based in the United States right now.
A mother's precious dream she has. Ooh, Lord, make them come true, please. Ooh.
in my work in legal services, I have the opportunity to work with law students, with young lawyers, with people who are coming into the profession, and in my work at PISLAP to work with students and with lawyers who are really breaking new ground, as well as activists in general, because working with social justice activists who are doing community organizing is very much part of the work of co-creating a movement. So I see these projects, both in my work life and my personal life, as really seeding a new generation that will integrate their understanding of our mutual interdependence with their sense of social justice, and they'll do it in their own unique, holistic way. But what I really enjoy is helping to generate those conversations and being a part of all of it.
Dream on, girl.